All right. Well, without further ado, Paul, let's get underway.
All right. My apologies for the technical difficulties. Hello, everyone. My name is Paul Medina. I am the National Sales Manager for Penn Emblem. We are a 74-year-old company offering apparel decoration in both the rental uniform and private label industry. So today I have the pleasure of, or we have the pleasure, I apologize, of partnering and establishing a long-term relationship with InkSoft. So thank you, JP. A little bit about myself. I just wanted to introduce myself. I've been with Penn Emblem for 6 years as of June 1st, so 2 days ago. I've been in the industry for 20 plus years. I was a decorator. I actually started an apparel line in the action sports motocross industry, had some notoriety there. And then after that business dissolved, I became a screen printer, or even in between that time, I became a screen printer. So I know the trials and tribulations as a screen printer. Definitely know the how to do color separations, how to do honestly artwork, vector art. Went back to school, learned graphic design. So this is exciting to be here with Penn Emblem and to bring us together with this with the partnership. So a few products that I'm going to show today really is how to benefit, in all honesty, is how to benefit from either screen printing, direct embroidery, or even a patch. There's several types of patches. So I'm going to jump right in today. And, coming from a screen print aspect of it, I'm going to show something like a blank patch. So this here, forgive me if my camera's not working, but if I can get the best shot here. So any type of blank patch, these are ideal, in all honesty, to screen print and to embroider, both a design and a name. So something like this really is just beneficial if you're trying to definitely capture a design on a left chest, the front of a cap, anything like that. This is really the ticket here. So we have a plethora of colors. You can create sizes and shapes, not just the standard shape, but I would show it to you because this kind of just understanding, the premise of just a ready-made blank patch. So these come with what we call an adhesive backing. So this adhesive backing allows you, the decorator, to decorate a cap. You can either heat apply it or you can actually sew it on. So that's what's really cool about just creating patches. I think the other thing too is I'm going to jump right into the next product here is what we call a cut to shape. This is your 100% embroidered patch. This here is ideally something to replace your direct embroidery, especially if you're doing something on the left chest. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. There you can see the detail. When you're doing patches, with any company, especially with us, there's no digitizing fee. So you're not having to worry about the setup cost. You're not having to worry about digitizing it. Ideally, if you can supply vector art and you can supply PMS colors, we will cross correlate with those, excuse me, with thread colors, and that will really help you identify and capture that detail. So we do, like I said, if you're looking at any type of patches like this is something great. So this is a fully embroidered patch, any shape, size, what you can do. Excuse me here, I'm going to drink a little quick water here. But anything like this will work. Sorry about that. I don't even know if I need to yell. Excuse me. So this is your standard, shape. This is a rectangular shape with fabric showing, direct embroidery. This is really ideal to capture that full detail. And again, no digitizing required. So anything like that, I'm based on the West Coast. So forgive me if I'm showing, LA Kings, if I'm showing someone like the Golden Knights. These are just patches that come into our facility and then we send out. Excuse me. So here's another full detail direct embroidery patch that you can heat apply as well as sew down. And, my apologies, I was going to show that to you. So any of these patches, when you talk about direct embroidery, this actually can be heat applied. As mentioned previously, we are offering a patch that has a low melt adhesive. That low melt adhesive can be applied at anywhere between 280 degrees to 400 degrees, depending on, the type of product. If you are applying something at 280 degrees, it generally is our 3218 low melt. And that low melt is ideal for a moisture wicking substrate, headwear, backpacks, anything that you can, that's going to give you a little bit of scorching when you're heat applying. If you're getting into a low melt, it may be something that you're going to heat apply with, onto a canvas bag or something similar that's a little bit harder of a substrate. Now, if you're getting into if you're getting into a 405 degree type of application, that is what's set on the side of the rental uniform industry that actually can adhere to stringent washing as well as what we call tumble drying. So those go through a dryer and that can adhere to that. So that's your, that is honestly your embroidered patch. So the next thing I'm going to show here is I'm actually going to show our woven patches. So here, this woven patch is great to get full detail. You can pretty much, get up to about 5 to 7 colors. And that there will give you something where you can get a full detail on a product. And, that'll really set yourself apart when you're trying to capture, detail. These are ideal for headwear. These are ideal for left chest as well as bag embroidery, bag application to replicate embroidery. Excuse me. So that, excuse me. So that is something that it's really, complements that design well. Here's another type of product that we offer. This is our dye sublimation patch. And these dye sublimated patches, same thing. If everyone's familiar as a decorator, that you can capture full detail. This is what we call a dye sublimated patch with a marrowed border. And same thing, I'm going to show you that these all these patches have an adhesive backing. So these can be applied anywhere between the 280 degree to 400 degree, depending on the substrate. This is another sublimated patch here that's cut to shape. So something like that, you can capture the detail. One thing like this is the artwork ideally needs to be a higher resolution. So this wasn't the best resolution in comparison to this here. This was a high vector file resolution. So those are the advantages of decorating with patches. I'm going to grab some apparel and show you other products that we've done. I'll show you something that we heat applied. So this is a garment where you're offering full application. Something like this here is you're going to be able to capture, a direct embroidery patch. Something like this. I apologize if my camera angle is not the best, but you're getting anywhere between a chenille. This is a chenille patch. You're getting a full applique patch here. So this is something that's cut to shape applique. And then you're getting a direct embroidery. So all of these are actually heat applied. And that's what really gives you the opportunity to capture that full detail. So all of this is fully heat applied, but they are cut to shape. I'll show you another type of product that we have. This is a large applique that we did for one of our customers. And this here is actually sewn on. So if you take a look at the inside of the jacket, this large applique is sewn. I don't know if you could see that through, but this is actually sewn into the garment here. So that starts out like a large patch, or it starts out like what we call as a large applique. So something like this here, and then that's sewn onto the back of a jacket. So anytime you get into, I think really the key to establishing, our relationship with InkSoft and interacting with the customer base there is being able to offer tackle twill. This is something that we do here. We call this cut to shape tackle twill on a carrier sheet. So this is a 2-layer with a simulated stitch border. And then it actually has a laser cut to shape design on the bottom as well. And again, that is set on a carrier sheet. So that can be applied again at 280 to 350 degrees, depending on type of product that you're placing it on. The other thing that I want to recommend is if you're doing anything like this on a large substrate, you may want to place it on bottom heat. So if you don't have a bottom heat application or bottom heat press, you can tack on the front. And then once you tack, you can turn over the garment and then do the application from the inside. So that's one of the product lines. The other product line that we like to offer is our faux leather. This is laser etched. And these are really cool, and these are really ideal to capture, the fine detail. So something like that will allow you the opportunity to, laser engrave. You send us your vector file, and then from there, you're going to see the design, the finished design. So this is another faux leather that you're going to be able to see. And that's something that we can do. And then going back, we're talking about the other types of product lines. This is your chenille that we offer. So something like this is really nice, especially if you're doing, varsity, if you're doing high schools, you're doing clubs, anything that requires this. These are reunions, especially reunions for, for high schools. This is a really good product. But then in fashion forward too, I have a lot of customers that are moving in that direction and asking for chenille lettering, asking for application. So this here is a single layer of felt with a chenille and then an embroidered accent. So you can see, I'm sorry, this is actually a chenille with two layers. You have a white felt layer, and then you have a gold felt layer. So that's something really nice to work with. I'll show you some other products that we have here. This is actually one of our products that we love to introduce. This is our Penflex. So Penflex is like a liquid metal that actually requires a mold, and it can be done both as a matte as well as a metallic, and it's ideal for apparel, headwear, and then perfect for bags too. I'll show you that. I'll show you. We did it on a bag. So this is something we decorated. This is Penflex on a bag, and I don't know if you can see this or how well it's interpreted, but it actually is a matte finish that is on the bag. This is something we did for sale samples for Sanmar. So anytime you're interacting with your Sanmar rep, you're dealing with someone like that, any of those reps, we are probably more than likely decorating that product for that sales team. So that's a really good product there. I'll show you, we're talking about, let's see, there was another one here, Penflex. So this product here is, again, with the Penflex, this is your metallic. This is something that can be done or shown, as a metallic. And then it's laid out here on the garment. And you know what, in all honesty, I love this because you can replicate direct embroidery, you can replicate texture, and I'm sure it doesn't do justice on a webinar like this, but it really gives you the opportunity to capture full colors. So something like that will get you a full color detail. So those are just some of the products. I think really we want to talk about how you can capture, and honestly, I would say, in all honesty, is how you can capture a better bottom dollar and improve your sales. Full patches, anywhere between an embroidered patch, anything that's cut to standard, cut to shape, anything like that. So this is just something that we're introducing our company and seeing how we can help one another and take it to the next level. So I think maybe, let's see what time, maybe we open it up to some questions, JP, and see what we can do.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. So if anybody attending has any questions, you want to pick Paul's brain, now's the time to do it. So it could be product oriented questions, pricing, whatever you think is appropriate. And why we sort of opened it up for questions, Paul, I'll kind of put you on the spot with a few that I have.
Absolutely.
So to make clear, the reason we partner together is so the premise here is if we can help our customers go to market with some additional imprint and embellishment capabilities where they don't have to buy equipment and hire and expand their overhead and their space to be able to offer chenille and applique and some of the cool products that you folks offer. So if you're talking to a traditional decorator who's really good at doing screen print and embroidery, how would you, maybe we'll talk about your sample offering, but what would be the next step in terms of like digging in to learn more about the product mix that's available and how to present those to my clients to really present really cool new ways to put art content on products?
Sure, absolutely. So let's talk about a screen printer or embroiderer. I think what most of them are going to do is they're going to capture vector art. So 9 times out of 10, they're receiving vector art from their customer and then having that interpret into a design for left chest, front of a cap. And most of the time, we know needle breaks. You can't get 4, 5, 6 colors into a design, on a left chest. You can interpret that into a patch. So ideally, if it's a sublimated patch, there's your full color design there. And the best thing here, I didn't offer this, but let me tell you. So this is vector here, and this is sublimated. But then the other thing here is this cap here is a woven. And with that woven, you can capture a gradient. So you see that gradient there? You're able to capture that. And 9 times out of 10, we know that you can't capture that in direct embroidery. And so what that'll do is that'll actually set you apart from the other decorators. An embroiderer, screen printer, they may try to capture that left chest. And you know what, if you're using 300 mesh, and you're trying to get down to 2.5 inches tall, and you're trying to put it on the front of a hat, it's not going to work. But here in a woven patch, all day long. So this is something that you can do. This is for resort wear. This is a customer. It's down based in I think in the Bahamas or Puerto Rico. And you know what? That's the best thing here. It's like, this is resort wear. So we changed their mindset. They became basically a decorator and was able to apply those patches, just heat apply it and transition that from a standard left chest screen print to a woven in the bottom end. That right there, I think in all honesty, that patch might've cost them $1.50, $2. And you know what? Our minimums, 50-piece minimum. Our turn time is anywhere between 7 to 10 days. So that woven generally is done in a process where you send us the vector art. In about 3 to 5 days, you're receiving a physical scan of that patch. And so it's an image that's email scanned over to you. And then from there, you approve it. We produce the patches and we ship them to you.
And then, Paul, to be clear, is that scan, you're physically producing the patch and then scanning the image in?
Absolutely, 100%. Oh, wow. So we're producing each patch that we do, and it doesn't cost you anything. As a decorator, it costs you $0. So the benefit is what I do, having a graphics background, is 9 times out of 10, when a customer asks for that image to be scanned, I take it into Photoshop, I crop it out, and I'll superimpose it right onto the hat. And they think that we literally did that for them. And,
that's awesome.
And you know what, when they're a decorator, they don't want to mess with this. They're like, great. So you did that? I go, yeah, you know what? I superimposed it onto a hat for you. And you know what? It closes the deal.
Got it. I know this was one of my first questions as we first engaged, but let's talk about the sort of the quality, the longevity of the heat or the adhesive that's in the backing of these patches. And kind of compare that to, tacking it down with an embroidery machine. Can you kind of give perspective on, what to expect from that application?
Sure. So depending on the product, I think realistically our adhesive adheres longer than the actual substrate. Because, a little backstory is that our founder, our current president is Randy Blumenthal Joseph. Her grandfather started the company. And he created one of the first adhesives, and he actually patented it to put adhesive on the back of a patch. And then that kind of just snowballed, and everybody came to us and said, you know what, hey, we need to change, we need to revolutionize this industry. We need to put an adhesive on the back. And we pretty much held the cards on that. So this past 6 years that I've been at Penn Emblem, I don't think we've ever had one issue with product coming back. And I mentioned the rental uniform side of it. We are heat applying on a regular basis, or we're selling to that rental uniform industry. So if you think of something like a Pet Boys, a Walmart, anything like Meineke or Roto-Rooter or anyone like that, those patches, 90% of the time are heat applied, and then they're actually sold in the industry through the uniform industry. So that adherence is ideal.
And I think when we first started talking, Paul, you mentioned, in the corporate laundering, for a lot of these uniform programs, I mean, it's industrial grade detergents and really aggressive laundering and drying, industrial appliances, and
Sure.
the patches and emblems stand up to even that abuse, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's the best thing about it. And then if we circle back to what I call our, this is our direct sales side of it. This is the end user. This goes to an end user. That there is the same thing. It outlasts the longevity of the garment. So people have the misconception that the hotter you have to get that adhesive, and the longer and the more pressure that you put, that it's going to adhere. 9 times out of 10, you are going to liquefy that adhesive, and you're literally going to push it off of the back of the patch.
Got it.
So yeah, so we have an adhesive, which is our 3218, and we apply that at about 280 degrees, and we do it for about 10 to 12 seconds with medium pressure. That's what this is applied with, something like this. And I do what we call a pull test. I'll pull test this, and you know what? I mean, I live behind this, because what you have to understand, especially with headwear, is that in headwear, it has a hard surface here called buckram, and that buckram is adhered to the front of your fabric at 350 degrees. So if you put 350 degrees on the front of this patch, you're breaking down the chemical makeup of the fabric to the buckram. So what we did is we created an adhesive. Now you can do it at 280 degrees at 10 to 12 seconds, and that allows you to apply and adhere that. So that same thing applies with our Penflex, with any of our substrates. We were just talking about it today. Your leather patch, you can either sew that down or you can heat apply it. And there's a couple of ways. You talked about heat applying versus sewing down. You can, as an embroiderer, create what we call a DST file, and most decorators will know that. And then you can create a guide stitch and a running stitch, and that'll allow you to sew that down onto a garment. So you could actually simulate a sewing machine for that. So that's a really good, good process. And you can do the same with a chenille. That's what a lot of people do. And we provide that as well. If we need to, we can provide a sew file that'll guide you to sewing that down onto a garment.
Well, let's do this, Paul. Let's work through sort of an order from sort of generating the order with Penn Emblem. And then, of course, you would manufacture and drop ship those patches. I, as the decorator, would receive those and heat apply them. So let's work through all of that detail. Let me set you up with a hypothetical here. Let's say I'm going to go connect with a local craft beer company and pitch them on the notion of really cool decorated apparel, but some sort of differentiated look, caps with patches, maybe workwear with patches. So kind of, walk me through, I secure an order or potential quote, and I turn to you folks, kind of guide me through the process and what should we expect?
Sure. So our current state right now is, we're super personable. So with that being said is, we're not necessarily in the automation phase of it. We like to be one-on-one with our customer. So I'll show you as we later speak. I share my personal cell phone, not my personal cell phone, my work cell phone, my email. What you're going to do is you're going to email myself along with my account managers. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and set you up with a new account. Some of the forms that you sent out, we set up probably now in the last week or 2 weeks, probably 20 or 30 new accounts through the InkSoft customer base. So generally what you're going to do is you're going to come to us. You're going to request, if you're already set up as a new customer, if you haven't, then you're going to request a new customer form. You're going to fill that out, return it to myself along with an email, which is penpatch@penemblem.com. That gets forwarded over to our customer service department. They set you up. determining if the setup is going to be on credit card or on terms. If it's on terms, then you'll have an additional, paperwork to fill out with your references, whoever your references are.
Right.
Once that's set up, you'll be supplied an account number, and then you'll utilize that account number through the email process, and then submit your artwork, as mentioned, ideally vector art, PMS colors, thread colors if you have those, so we can cross correlate with production. And then anywhere between 3 to 5 days, we're going to return the email scan to you. That's in the approval process. If that's approved, then from there, we will process that order, minimum 50-piece minimum. That takes about 7 to 10 days. And then it can drop ship from any of our facilities. We have a facility in Trevose, Pennsylvania. And then we have a facility here on the West Coast in Maryloma, where I am today. And then that order would take anywhere, probably, generally it's been taking about 1 to 2 days. And we know that UPS, FedEx is kind of delaying that process. But yeah, that's the, the process kind of streamlined. But I think what we do is we kind of go above and beyond, like you said, if you secured that hat, that polo, that workwear, we'll go above and beyond and make sure that we ideally give you the right type of patch to work with, whether it's a woven, whether it's an embroidered, whether it's sublimated. We're going to get together and, spend a little bit of time with you.
And to that end, let's say I come to you with, hey, I have the sales opportunity and I want to present some really unique products. You folks are involved in sort of consulting to help determine what the right product fit is based on the fabric and the application. I mean, is that part of the experience?
Absolutely. Yes. We have, generally speaking, we probably have anywhere between 15 and 35 years of experience with our entire team. So they will sit down with you, in current state, they'll speak with you over the phone or via Zoom, and then we'll work through it. You can share with us the type of garment that you're using, the garment number, the model number, and then from there we're gonna go ahead and give you the best advice possible to what type of emblem is going to work.
Great. And can you touch on your stock products, in particular the state flags and things of that nature? I think there's some pretty unique sales opportunity there.
Yeah, I think so. At the end of the day, like JP is saying, an American flag we produce right now, I would say in the industry, whether it's both police, fire, rental uniform in the uniform industry and private label, we probably produce, I don't know, let's say 500,000, American flags a week, if not more. And then that's going out the door. So that, that American flag is every American flag that you probably see on a uniform is something that we produce. So that's an in-stock item. Then you spoke about the state flags, and that's really where I've really pushed that along and saw that there's an opportunity anywhere to offer, any state flag. So all 50 states and as well as countries, we offer those. Those are stock items. Same thing right now. Our minimum is 25 pieces on that, 50 pieces on that. It's just dependent on what the product is. Ideally, on American flag, you can order 12-piece minimum. So that's something that's really good. So you have it, all 50 states, and then that is with a low melt adhesive, or they can be sewn on, and that ships same day, if not next day.
Yeah, and I think the business op, and I see this all the time with whether it be a plumber or HVAC. In fact, our Mike, our HVAC, here in Arizona in the summertime, you're very good friends with your cooling guys.
Yeah.
Traditional workwear, right? So name patch.
Yes.
And then American flag. And so many, local businesses, of course, want to express whether it be state or, country pride, things of that nature. So I think the business op is as a decorator, bringing that forward and giving that as an option and then being able to monetize it. So you're providing more value and more consultation and you're differentiating your business. But you also have the opportunity to assess a premium on that product and do something distinct.
Sure. And to touch base on that, if you are, an embroiderer, try to embroider that, 25, 30,000 stitch American flag on a moisture wicking shirt or a polo, or even just on a 65-35 workwear. It's just going to be so heavy draping on that. So what we do is we either heat apply it, our customers either heat apply it or sew it down. and it's utilized in that manner. And it's really, it is. It's, if you look at the bottom end, it really just adds value. The perceived value is, ideal. There goes Cintas, one of our customers right behind you.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Ironic, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
We palm greased him $20 to do that drive by.
I did it. He's going to drive by about 3 more times. So.
Yeah. Well, I think my bottom line, and I want to make this very clear. I think, again, the reason we sought out to partner with Penn Emblem is the reputation you folks have. And obviously you're well known, especially in the promotional product space. You folks have been around forever, a legacy company with 71 plus years in business. And then the rich array of products that you folks offer. I mean, it seems like there's something for every occasion. In particular, the one thing that has been stuck on my mind, we paid a visit to a local company. And in fact, they're right across the street from our office here in Tempe, Arizona, Sportique. Yep. And these folks make their own apparel.
I know Larry well.
Oh, they're an amazing company. But one of their things you can't really see this from their catalog, but on all their apparel, they do a woven label. So they have a white t-shirt, but it has this red woven branded label. And I never really thought too much about it, but when I was in their showroom and saw this woven label on every bit of, obviously all the apparel they produce. And the fact is you folks make woven labels, and that I can come to you for a custom woven label. So to go to my customers thinking as a decorator, to add a little extra touch, a sewn on label on the hem or sleeve or whatever it might be, just adds so much value. It almost looks like they get a truly custom garment with a great impression on it. It's just such an easy way to, again, differentiate.
100%. You're absolutely right. There was a brand. I mean, there still is a brand, but out there, brand identity. I mean, you see coming from that sports, lifestyle or action sports, there was a brand out there called RVCA, RVCA. And they were notorious for creating a small woven label, either on the pocket of a shirt, of a tee. So whether it was a 20 single, a heavyweight 6.5 ounce tee, or a 30 single, a 4.5 ounce, you put that little woven label on there. And I hear Mr. Wonderful all the time from Shark Tank says perceived value. Yep. So if you can get that perceived value, that woven label costs you pennies. Every time I talk to a customer, you're 100% right. I tell that customer, order 1,000. And they're like, are you kidding me? No, you know what? 1,000 cost you, a 1x1 cost you 8 cents, 10 cents. And really just by tacking that on somewhere at the bottom, a clamshell, putting that on the bottom of a garment speaks huge volume for brand identity, for branding. If you take a look at anybody, if you walk into, a action sports store like a Tilly's or Zoomies, or you go online and look at some of these brands, that's what they're doing. They're putting that perceived value at the bottom of a garment. And then from there, we did it here. It's funny you say that because we have that perceived value. Let's see if you could see it here. I'm going to drop down, but it's the same thing. We just have a little woven label here and it tells a story.
Super cool.
Yeah. So same thing. It tells a story. And from there, sorry about that camera, but it does. It tells a story and it adds value to it.
Yeah.
So all day long.
Well, I think bottom line, just to encourage folks to tap into this partnership. I mean, at the end of the day, there's zero cost to establish a Penn Emblem wholesale account. That immediately empowers me to source all of the different products that you folks make. And obviously it's a huge range, filtering through some of your website and some of the options. I mean, it's almost endless. And those products might offer up a new sales opportunity altogether, meaning if I'm not selling into fire, police, search, rescue, if I have the right product mix and I can go to those folks with workwear, that's new opportunities, right? New revenue opportunities.
Oh, absolutely. There is, on every corner, there's an individual that wants to start a brand.
Yep.
That started a business that, whether you're a tree trimmer or you're a plumber or you're security, you start a private security officer business, you need to do brand identity. So you need to identify yourself in some shape or some way, shape or form.
Yep.
Ideally. And that's the thing about it it honestly creates another revenue stream.
Yep. Yeah. And a lot of these brands to this point, in fact, it's ironic you suggest that. We're working on a marketing kit for July, which is all about brand building, meaning how as a decorator, as a print shop, how can you express that, hey, software company or craft beer company, you have a brand and brand identity and it's valuable to you. How do you extend that and how can branded merchandise play a role in that? And, any decorator can offer a screen printed t-shirt, right? Even a good one. But those extra little touches and embellishments, that extra perceived value, just extends that screen printed t-shirt into a true retail ready, fashion forward piece.
Absolutely.
So you can see all these puzzle pieces come together. It's just enabling you as a business to be able to offer much more in terms of decoration capabilities, embellishment capabilities. And the funny thing, at the end of the day, I don't have to buy equipment or hire folks, which is a challenge right now.
I'm just going to say
expand my facility. We're talking about, if you have a heat press, you can take the products that you're on offer from Penn Emblem, and I can apply those. Let's kind of bring this full circle, because there's one other option here. I want to make sure everybody understands this. You folks also offer a sort of decoration as a service.
We do. Yes. We call
Walk
it
us through the mechanics there, if you would.
Sure. So I think, long story short is I was actually a customer of Penn Emblem for about 6 years, and I was in the licensing arena, and I saw that there was a need I was licensing in the military side of it, and I saw that there was definitely a need for decoration. So I come to find out when I joined forces in June of 2015 that we were actually decorating apparel, that, whether it was direct embroidery, whether it was screen printing, or we were putting a patch onto a garment. And you know what, at the end of the day, that is actually allows for a no-touch approach to any decorator. And I use that word, religiously, no touch. You talked about labor. It's something that kind of sets us apart. Some of our competitors, we've actually done work for them because we can actually put a patch onto a hat. And one of the things what we do probably the best in the industry is we can sew a patch onto a hat with our post sewing machine. So it's something that we do. Standard Juki is your flat embroidery machine, your flat sewing machine. What we utilize a post sewing machine. So that gives you the opportunity to sew that patch. And what it does is it allows you to move in a circular motion that cap. So absolutely, we can sew, onto a garment, onto a bag, onto a hat. At the end of the day, it's really just anything is possible. We just have to really look at it. And then I won't how would I say it? I won't put my foot in my mouth, but there's times where we literally have to receive 2 or 3 garments and do testing on that. And that's just in a perfect world. But I mean, there's times, hey, I'm in sales, and I you see a big fish and you want to go after it. And then all of a sudden they bring it to me and they're like, Paul, what are you doing? Trying to make this happen. And I'm like, sorry, I look at it because I know how to do it.
Yeah.
Or I thought I knew how to do it. And then I look at it, that's easy. They're like, oh, okay, right. But no, it in a perfect world, absolutely. If you can get us 1 to 2, sample pieces, we're going to test them for you. We're going to do a heat test. We're going to do a sew-on test. And then, we're going to give it back to you so that you can give it to your customer and close the deal.
That's great. Well, that's tremendous flexibility. So I could, receive blank patches and heat apply myself. But if it's a huge run, maybe it's, a busy part of my year, I don't have the capacity, I could delegate a huge run to Penn Emblem for manufacturing the label or the emblem, whatever the material might be. And then of course, direct application and processing. So that's amazing.
Yeah, and across the country too, we have another facility in Clarksville, Tennessee, where we can help you with direct embroidery, heat application, or we can be done in our Mariloma facility.
That's great. Well, Paul, I want to be mindful of time here. I'm going to do a quick scan to see if there's any chats or any questions in the Q&A function. I'm not seeing any. So I think we did a good job of kind of creating the, illuminating what is the business opportunity and how to take full advantage of the product mix that Penn Emblem has. And I've just been extremely impressed with your organization. So hats off and congratulations to all the success you folks have had. You don't stay in business for over 70 years if you don't offer great service and quality and innovation. So
likewise, I would pass that back to you, because honestly, like I said, when I joined forces with Penn Emblem, I was already dealing with InkSoft 2 or 3 years prior. But it's, hey, you know what? It's full circle. It's coming back, and I'm excited.
Cool.
Definitely excited on the opportunity.
Well, we'll keep collaborating, and I imagine we'll do a few more webinars in the future, some highly specialized ones. And in particular, as we start to approach things like graduation, as we start talking about the varsity products and Letterman jackets and things of that nature, we can, I think, put a spotlight on some of the very specific products and ways to execute on those. But really appreciate you taking time, Paul, and thanks for joining us and sharing your insights.
Yeah. All right. Have a great one, everybody.
Thank you. And everybody, thanks for taking the time to attend. We'll get this recording produced and we'll get it distributed. And by all means, if you have any questions, we'll stuff a bunch of links where you can find out more about Penn Emblem and register for your free account in the YouTube video that will correspond to this webinar. So again, thanks everybody. Look forward to our next opportunity together. Take care.
Take care.
Thanks, Paul. Appreciate it.